Hey, Becca here. Today I am going to talk about how to address being stressed and overwhelmed. So let's get started. I was talking to a friend a few days ago. Her life situation at the moment, she's gone back to school and in her last semester of college and having to do that differently. And then she's also has kids at home and contemplating whether to just homeschool them through the next school year or try to deal with all of the new situations. And then there is the trying to manage her job online at home with the kids and all of that. She was talking about being so stressed and overwhelmed. Well, I just had to smile about this because that's my story. As women, we are putting on too many hats these days. We have to decide what we can and what we should be doing from this point forward. I get it. A lot of people think that I wouldn't because of me being a stay-at-home mom and homeschool mom for the last 15 plus years. But yes, I do get it. You know, you wouldn't think that staying at home would be stressful and overwhelming, but you have all of the management of the home, and then there is the managing the kids' education and all that entails. And as a homesteader, I had a garden to tend, the house to maintain, and the yards to maintain, the vehicles to maintain. I had all of that on my shoulders, so I totally get it. There have been many times in my life that I am stressed and overwhelmed, and I know I am not alone. Here are some tips that I use all the time when I start getting too busy and get overwhelmed in what I'm doing. So tip number one is to address and assess. Address and assess is just that. Address your situations, write them down. Assess what you can do with them. Some of them you can ditch or put away for another day. Some of them are just temporary, so just push through them. And some of them you can delegate these responsibilities to other people. For instance, if you have children, there is no reason why they cannot be helping you in the house to maintain the household. So what? The clothes don't get done in a certain period of time. Leave that responsibility on the shoulders of who it's been delegated to. Don't pick it up. Make sure that they get their responsibilities taken care of. You have your things to do and you need to focus on what those things are. That's how the household functions. So assess and address the responsibilities in life and move forward. So that's tip number one. Tip number two is to find time for yourself. And that's what some of the assessing and addressing is about. You want to find time and make time for yourself and hold on to that time because you need it. Whatever that time looks like is for you to decide. Is that a half an hour bath? Is it you running off with your friends for a night out? That's one thing that I held on to dearly when building this house. I was so overwhelmed with the responsibility of being a general contractor that I had to have my Thirsty Thursdays where I just got away with some of my best friends and we had a margarita and just talked about whatever we wanted to talk about at the moment. So figure it out for yourself what that relaxation is for you and pick the time that you need to do that relaxation and don't budge from that schedule. So tip number three is find a positive outlet. We have so much negative going on in our life, and that's part of the stress and overwhelm. We always need to be addressing what negatives need to stay and what negatives need to be pitched out the door, and get rid of what you don't need. But you also need to find positives in life. One of the things that I like to do on a regular basis is I have this journal that I love to write down in, and it could be positive affirmations, it could be positive quotes, it could be Bible verses, it could be some sort of writing or rewriting from a book or a thought process that I've had, or just what I'm doing for the day. But I like writing that down, and then whenever I have just a few inkling moments of time, but sitting there waiting on one thing or another, I like to pull that book out and maybe read a page. But that is one avenue that I have found that I can find some positivity in my life here and there throughout the day. Another way of finding positive is any avenue that you can think of that is positive to you, and implement it throughout the day. So that's tip number 3, is to find some positivity in your life. So on to tip number 4 is educating yourself. Education is empowerment. And I know this can be a double-edged sword. In the 2 instances that I have referred to in this particular video, the education has been the drop in the bucket in the overwhelm. But that's just life. Life is going to throw different things at different times at you, and you shouldn't be afraid of moving up and moving forward because of overwhelm. But educating yourself will move you forward and move you into a state of grace, a state of relaxation. So be sure to continually educate yourself in what you want to do and moving forward in life. So that's tip number 4, is educate yourself for empowerment. And you can find education anywhere, so do it. And tip number 5 is don't forget about what you're eating. I get it. When you get overwhelmed, you start looking at ways of cutting corners, and a lot of times it is easier to just go pick up something in the drive-thru, or find a quick meal to cook in the frozen section of your grocery store. But don't forget that nutrition is going to keep you going. You need to maintain the live whole foods, and that is your nuts, your seeds, your fruits, your vegetables, and your quality meats. I give you permission to serve non-traditional dinners, for the family. It could be something as simple as picking up a fruit or vegetable tray at the grocery store and serving that at dinner time. You can do that. You don't have to create this 5-course meal to sit down and eat with your family. I have been guilty of serving a whole bunch of cucumbers with some peanut butter. I have been guilty of cutting up some carrots and some celery and serving that with hummus. And we enjoyed it. It was more important for us to eat that quality food and be together and spend those precious moments of time together as a family than it was for me to spend an hour processing and cooking and serving a huge meal. So those are my 5 tips for addressing stress and overwhelm. If you have any tips of your own, leave them in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already done so, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. That way you can receive notices when I upload videos each and every week. But that is all I have for you today. And don't forget to love your family as they love you. So I will talk to you again soon. And until then, get healthy, be happy, and herbal on. See ya.